Hello there, Jimjamatic here. Welcome to the fifth episode of Robot Wars Episodes Reviews. Last time we saw the little featherweights gain and Cunning Plan win. It is Heat E, and I am joined by another guest who's appeared once before. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sam Elliott, 64.
Sam, nice to have you on again.
I'm more than happy to be back.
I am as well, actually. And I was discussing with Sam literally before this thing. If you take out the previous heat, which I see as more of a novelty and less of a proper heat.
Yep.
This is my least favorite of Series One. It's not the worst heat ever, but it's my least favorite. And
watching it earlier today, I didn't think it was too bad. There's a few interesting robots in there, but the problem I have with this heat is it was kind of obvious who was going to win from the get-go because it's twice the weight of everything else.
that was it was actually quite well built as well. So
Yeah.
but yeah, anyway, we'll get to that. And so I guess we might as well start with the heat winner. And technically, not with all the same team members, but technically the only kind of recurring team throughout every series.
Well, a team slash robot team that have appeared in every series, including the 2016 series as well.
Yeah, I didn't think that would happen, but they came back, and we got to see Robin Herrick again, which is quite nice.
Yep.
It is Body Hammer, the coal scuttle, as Jonathan Pierce always likes to refer it to as, and it looks like it's made from the 20s outside.
I'll tell you, I will say this as well. It looks really pretty. It just looks pretty.
Yeah, it's a very nice, it's very sleek, very shiny robot. It's like
For the time as well. It was fast. It had good speed behind it. It was well built, reliable. It just had everything, didn't it?
It had everything, but I think obviously it definitely benefited from the fact that it wasn't in a series with reliable flippers.
No, that's true. And as well as that, it was also in a heat. It was in a heat where every single robot in the heat was half its weight. At least half its weight.
It was a massive advantage, at least, anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad robot. The one thing I always found funny about it is, even though it's called Body Hammer, you never saw the hammer actually move at all.
Well, I think they had a weapon issue, didn't they, with the hammer? So that's why they had to change it.
Yeah, I think so.
And at least in this series, it actually had a hammer, and then in the second series too, it just didn't have a hammer at all.
Still kept the name though, which I found funny.
It's quite interesting, wasn't it? Yeah, but body hammer.
Yeah, I mean the weapons in Series 2 were so formidable.
Oh yeah.
it probably did better with just ramming into things like it always did, as opposed to actually doing it.
Yeah, I will say that, as I said, in Series 1, the robots were made mostly out of what it seemed like pretty thin armor, and Body Hammer's spike that they added later in the episode went just straight through things.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, this thing is probably the best. Yeah, overall, so far the best, just overall robot, and I guess it's probably the reason why I'm not a fan of this heat in some ways, because again, it was obvious who was going to win this, and unless something freakish happened, cough, cough, heat final, cough, cough.
We'll get to that in a second.
Uh,
We'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, we will. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I hope we watched the episode. Hopefully,
I watched it earlier today. Don't worry.
I was talking to the audience. Sorry.
Oh.
No, I know you watched it, but
Yeah.
yeah, Body Hammer is definitely the most well built. Definitely, one of a decent speed, decent drive. It was just like good. It deserved to be in the heat final as a robot.
Yep.
As a robot, of course, I'm saying.
Yeah. As well as that, I think you have to think the guys are nuclear engineers. They're not stupid. Let's face it.
No, but I suppose it doesn't matter where you come from, because technically the people who made Shogun from Rolls-Royce, and they didn't really make a very good robot.
No, true. But even still, they're very clever guys, and Robin Herrick. This is kind of like his starting point in his Robot Wars journey.
Yeah, we don't get to see David Gribble until Series 2, I don't think.
No, he's driving next series. Robin Herrick drives this year. Fun fact, actually, about Body Hammer, which not many people might know. The wheels from Body Hammer actually ended up in Killy Cranky for the 2016 series.
I knew that because I combed the wiki quite a lot before the series, but yeah, it's quite a little interesting that they just butchered part of the Body Hammer.
Yeah, so part of Body Hammer still exists in Robot Combat today. How cool is that?
I mean, my question was why they still had it. That's quite amazing.
I'm glad they've still got it. I mean, I like that kind of thing. I like competitors who keep sort of like old things around, just as like a reminder of where they've come from. I like that kind of thing.
I mean, the best example of that is Rex Garrett. I think I don't know about Recyclops, but he's kept Cassius, and it's still around, and he brings it out with Cassius too. And I think there's a Cassius 3 uses as entertainment on like mini live circuits and all that, but nothing too competitive.
Yeah, because obviously they're outdated massively.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, Cassius. I mean, it was validated by Series 3, so...
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all we got about Body Hammer, right? It's just a
Yeah,
really reliable robot.
Body Hammer, fast, reliable, strong, and deserving heat winner.
And incredibly unlucky in Series 2.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
unlucky in Series 2.
We'll get to that again eventually.
Of course. Actually, that's not relatively not that far away. It's only about 5 heats away, technically. But yeah, so we'll get to the heat finalist, and we got Reality, the chicken wire UFO spike thing.
With an alien inside it.
Yeah, with an alien with pointless more pointless
engineered alien technology.
with more pointless noises, pointless lights, pointless little stuff on it.
But it was cool.
It was actually, I actually do think it looks nice design wise. It's one of those kind of, I just kind of like, I always remember it. Like, I don't. There's one robot I think we'll get onto soon that I think in comparison is a lot more forgettable. But this one is quite memorable just because of how because there's not many like UFO robots that actually look like a UFO.
As well as that, we have to think with Reality. It also was very fast. It also had a lot of power behind its drive. And I think again it was pretty obvious that they were going to be in the heat final because their robot was so well made as well.
I think if they made it heavier, made it more of a heavyweight, they could have had a decent chance in this heat.
Then they would have upgraded all the drive systems, and it would have been slow.
Yeah,
so I could kind of understand having a faster, smaller robot than having a big, slow one.
I can understand that as well, but they got very unlucky with their drive system this heat. They lost like 3 wheels the entire heat.
Yeah, they kept getting damaged, didn't they?
It was just unlucky. I mean, they were right in the Gauntlet, but as soon as the trials hit, that's when they started all the bad luck.
They took damage in the Labyrinth, didn't they?
Yeah, and actually, I think during the fight against Body Hammer, they lost a third wheel as well.
Yeah, it fell on the grill, didn't it?
Yeah, they were on 3 wheels by the end of the battle, so they had 6, so that's actually quite impressive.
Yep, absolutely.
But it's a nice little robot actually, admittedly, and it's one of those robots again. I kind of wish they'd come back. Because I think there's a few robots in Series 1 that I think could have had another go if they tried it, if they had to get another go again, or made a heavyweight or something. But it's a bit like...
I will say, like, Reality had potential there, but they just didn't come back, did they? Which is kind of a shame because I quite like the design. But there you go. I suppose it's not for everyone.
It's yeah. I mean, actually, one thing I find quite interesting about it is because the outside's got chicken wire on it. The armor counts as a weapon.
Well, in Series 1 terms, yeah, not in later series, obviously.
Oh, of course not. But it's just kind of funny that they actually had armor was counted as a weapon in that series.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it worked.
Yeah, I mean, it was one. It didn't do. It took a while. It took it to the end of the Gauntlet to even show its full speed off. It was quite slow initially.
They were being very careful. A bit like how when Body Hammer went through the Gauntlet, took its time and just didn't want to hit anything, just don't want to damage it.
That's true, but also I think they also had a problem climbing hills because they had quite a very small, steep, not a very good climbing gradient. I think because they were slipping a bit at one point.
Yeah, they didn't have much ground clearance, did they? So
no, not really. But it at least deserved to be into the heat final. At least it was probably one of the more well-built robots in this heat.
Oh, definitely, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, I think half the robots in this heat were pretty bad, and the other half were okay. And then two are okay, and a Body Hammer.
Then the Psycho Sprout.
Yeah, I didn't say I was. I'm not including that one. Don't worry.
Oh right, okay.
But that was the three. That was the 3 rubbish robots.
Oh okay.
Speaking of rubbish robots, admittedly a very funny name, but not a very good robot. Talk of the Devil.
I like the pun.
I love the pun, but I don't understand this robot in the slightest. This is. This robot.
I like the blade at the back. It had a lot of speed behind that, but the thing, what was that at the front?
It was supposed to be I don't know. It looks like a flower that's bloomed and it's put on top of a drill. And wow, make that part of the weapon, a tongue or something. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
I don't understand. But I mean, they entered with that, and in fairness, they did reasonably well considering it was a slower robot than most. It was quite lightweight as well. I think it was only 20 kilos, was it, or 30 kilos?
I don't remember, but they got way further than they probably could have if it was a just battle situation. Obviously,
yeah. I think Talk of the Devil made it a fiberglass again, not the strongest of materials. I mean, I know Matilda's built mostly out of fiberglass, but
it's one of the few robots that got punctured in this series because of that reason.
Actual battle damage.
Very rare for this series. But Talk of the Devil, it's one of those robots that, I mean, you heard in the last heat Anton arguing quite passionately that Bugs was his least favourite robot in this series. This is
yours.
This is mine. I mean, okay, I understand it's first series, fair enough. Fiberglass, weapons aren't that good. The robot's really slow. I think that's what gets me the most about it. It's painfully slow. It's like it's painful watching it because it just goes like it just takes ages to do anything, and it just and then it
See,
got. Uh,
my least favorite robot in this whole series is actually Shogun.
I can understand that in fairness though. I
Sh-
get that as well.
Shogun's just no.
I mean, do you want to give? Do you want to briefly explain why? Because you were on that review series, so
It's a box with no weaponry and it's slow.
well they had weaponry, but
No, they didn't have weaponry. They're lying. Um, but I will say this: the paintwork was cool.
that's the only thing that's good about Shogun is the
Yeah,
artwork.
the artwork on Shogun is very cool. But other than that, it's just like from an effectiveness point of view, just no.
Oh no. And Talk of the Devil is just as effective, to be honest with you. I mean, this is
I
a
mean, there was damage potential in the saw at least, but that's about it. At the back, the one at the back, not the one at the front. Whatever that was at the front, I don't really know what it was. But
well,
hey, you know what? It'll be fine.
one of the few flywheels in this series actually, because most
Yeah.
of them are just saws. Like it's an actual flywheel.
Yep.
But it's no hypnodisc. It's no supernova. It's no
It's no nothing.
it's
It's just there.
it's there to a lot of people. I really don't get this. Really don't like this thing in the slightest, and it's just kind of more annoying considering the robot that lost in the Gauntlet I think is way better than the ones that lost in the Gauntlet and that got through to the trials and this.
Potentially, yeah, but that's the way it happens sometimes, you know.
Again, and that's another robot I really don't like, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, there's a reason why I don't like this heat because
Yeah.
so many robots are just really bad in this heat. And oh,
I've seen worse. I've seen worse.
there are worse overall, yeah, but I think it's just there's a collection of all three of them together in the same heat. It's just I can't bear it. It's like Heat C of Series 3. There's so many crap robots in that heat that it's painful.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's anyway. So I think we talked about Talk of the Devil, just this pig thing that was just made out of fiberglass with two
Yep.
saws that didn't do anything. It didn't do anything, and it just somehow managed to make it to the battles.
I got battered by body hammer.
That was probably one of the most entertaining fights of this series, just because of cathartic reasons.
Yeah, because of body hammer just going in.
It's one of the few an actual body damage. It's very few you see that on a robot.
Yep. It's especially in Series 1.
I think Saturn's one of the other robots I think that actually had a lot of decent bit of damage on it.
Mhm.
But anyway, now in my opinion, if someone had to say to me, which it's quite a hard question to ask someone, considering it's quite a hard subject, one of the most forgettable robots in a series, Full Metal Anorak is
Full Metal Anorak.
absolutely my pick for the most forgettable robot in this series, in my opinion. I know you can feel free to disagree, but I just don't really see anything. I'm not joking. Last year, I was I haven't seen Series 1 in a while, so I decided to rewatch some of the episodes. I forgot this thing it was in the series. I couldn't remember who Reality won against.
It was Full Metal Anorak.
Yeah, and it's one of I was like, who was that? It's like, because I don't think the guy comes back either, so it's like a one-man team who doesn't come back.
I will say one thing about Full Metal Anorak. It looks awfully like another robot in this heat, doesn't it? They look very similar.
Yeah, that's really weird, actually. Actually, now I think about it, they do look very similar, but their weapons are just as useless. Spikes, again, don't do anything unless you've got power behind them. If you're not Tornado...
In fairness, Full Metal Anorak was pretty zippy.
It was zippy, but it didn't seem to have much control in when it was in a wider area. Like if it was tight corners, it was good at getting around the labyrinth. But when it came to actual battling, it didn't seem to know what it was doing. Like it seemed to be only good as good with controlled movement. When it came to actual combat,
That might have been due to interference, maybe, I don't know, but
it might have been. But I mean, the weapon was like this little. It was supposed to be a tire cutting blade.
Yep.
But I don't know. It never did anything. So
in fairness, I think every robot in this heat didn't have exposed tires.
yeah, that's the thing. It was
kind of unlucky to get Drew in a heat where there were no tires.
I mean, Psycho Sprout doesn't even have wheels, technically.
Psycho Sprout doesn't have anything. Psycho Sprout's just there.
Yeah, well, I mean we'll get to that monstrosity in a second.
I love Psycho
Oh
Sprout.
no, I love it, but it's a monster it's an absolute monster freak of robot nature.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, Full Metal Anorak, there's not much I can say about it. It's just one of those, it's just a wedge. It looks the only distinguishing thing about it compared to a lot of other wedges like Wedgehog or something is that it does look a bit. It looks slightly like a stealth bomber. Like they've got little side bits on it, and it's not.
Yeah, it's designed to be pointy as well.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's not the worst design. I mean, there are blander designs. There's things like Talos, for example, in Series 2.
Yep.
That's a bland design, but it's got something on it. But again, I just never found this thing very memorable. It's not. I mean, I'm not. But I'm saying I'm not calling it bad. Man,
Clearly, it wasn't.
it,
It was effective, but
if it had better driving in the battles, it could have got to the heat final.
I think as well as that, it was never going to do much more because it was against the heavier robot in reality, and it was I think it was only like 20 kilos, so I think it was never going to, or maybe even less than that. So
Hmm.
there's a good chance it just wasn't going to go much further than where it got to in the end. But that's just how it is, really. Sometimes
That's how it is, and unfortunately, Full Metal Anorak didn't win. But now, possibly the funniest robot ever entered into a series, and it's only series one.
it's certainly
Psych-
certainly one of the most original entries ever.
I think the most original entry ever made, personally.
Yeah,
Psycho Sprout.
Psycho Sprout.
First of all, what is this thing? What is it? It's a robot. It's like it's easy to describe, but at the same time, it's hard to describe.
It's a remote control car with some wire on top of it in a big ball.
Basically, yes, and
That's what it is.
it can't turn, which is quite funny. So how it's supposed to do the labyrinth, I have no idea.
Well, it can sort of turn.
Eh, well, by a house robot pushing them. That's
No. If the remote control car could like turn left and right inside, then it could do, I suppose. But
maybe, but
interesting factoid. I don't think it's any relation, but they're also Marstons. No, I'm sure they're no relation to Jason. If they are, that's something.
that would be funny actually.
Going from Psycho Sprout to Thor in the same family. I don't think they are. I think it's just a pointless bit of
Yeah,
information.
it's a coincidence at least.
I feel like how Exterminator and Behemoth are both the Pritchards.
That's a really weird coincidence, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like two really successful teams both have actually coincidentally are both teams that didn't even though they had a lot of success didn't really get many semi-finals under their belt.
No.
I mean, Behemoth only got one,
Yeah.
which is still surprises me because I think it's one of those robots that it's like it's up there with like I mean not like me up there with like Razorme, but it's up there at least with like decently successful robots like Spawn Again and
Yeah.
13 Black and Gravity and all that, and then it's like oh it made one semi-final and it's been in every series apart from the first.
Yep. But there you go. I mean, Psycho Sprout. It's fun to watch, isn't it? Really.
It's a joy. It's one of the most joyous. It's like watching Claude Hopper for me.
Yeah, it's great.
I love watching it more than actually it's actually a good robot.
Yeah, exactly. Psycho Sprout's great.
Oh, it's absolutely great. I mean, it's down. It deserved that bit of most original entry award at the end of the series because there's nothing else more original. I think that thing from now on, every series should have just gone. Oh, Psycho Sprout wins again. Just because nothing can
And from
beat
series one, nothing has ever been more original than Psycho Sprout. So Psycho Sprout wins again.
No, they should have made it like the ball in series 2 and the pinball. So it always won. It was always part of the series somehow. So
I love it. Good, yeah.
one of the drop zones in series 6.
Oh, they've dropped Psycho Sprout on it.
Yeah, I just like it's in every series. I go technically it was in this series, so it wins most original entry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I love this thing. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's on a technical level, it's pretty crap, but on a originality level, and also I think in terms of technical expertise, it's quite amazing they managed to get this thing to work
It
really
was clever.
well.
It was clever, wasn't it? It was
But
cleverly done.
but let's face it was never going to win the series or a heat for that matter,
No.
or a battle.
I'm amazed they made out of the Gauntlet, but they did.
I mean, they got very lucky in the goal. So they got slightly pushed at one point.
They made it further than both Talk of the Devil and the other robot were to bring up.
Yeah, to the credit, they did a lot better performance than Talk of the Devil did, because Talk of the Devil just kind of went really slow, bumped into Sergeant Bash, and then they just stayed there. And because Sergeant Bash got stuck on the grill, and they were just kind of like, oh, we're too slow to go anywhere, so they just kind of moving a little bit forward.
Yeah, Psycho Sprout actually made it past that point anyway, so.
Oh, they did, yeah. It was just I guess, such an undescribable robot. It's such a weird, it is a freak of nature.
It's a weird and wonderful design.
Absolutely, and that's what Robot Wars is all about. Originality occasionally does work out. Not this time, but
Yeah.
it didn't. It worked out. It worked it worked in the sense it actually worked at least, but it didn't work in the sense that it wouldn't have. They probably got the most out of the robot that they wanted to, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's a shame they never came back again. So I would like to make another weird robot for like another series.
It was pretty basic. I mean, there was no real way to expand on that.
No, I'm not saying like make another Psycho Sprout. I'm just saying like make another weird robot. Like Team Death did that.
Yeah, true.
I mean, all their robots, none of them look the same, and they're all weird. And apart from maybe Metallus, look probably the most boring of the lot, but the rest of them look really weird and creative. So it's like I would like if they come back and made did a Team Death, that'd be quite great.
Yeah, maybe.
But oh well. I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't return in this heat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so. Actually, only Body Hammer, only,
yeah.
only Body Hammer, and the one who lost in the Gauntlet actually competed again.
Hmm.
So and we've been hyping it up so much. It's gonna be great, isn't it? Because it's lost in the Gauntlet.
Oh yeah,
It's Warthog,
absolutely. Warthog.
and
Looks very similar to Full Metal Anorak,
very
except
true.
yellow.
Slightly heavier as well because it's a middleweight, not
Yep.
a lightweight. Um, I will say this has got to be the most depressed I've ever seen the team lose ever.
They just didn't even want to talk to Jeremy,
No,
did they?
the driver just left. He just went. I've never seen a team member. I think the only time I've ever seen that happen again, and it was when the Micromute got destroyed by Matilda.
That's understandable because
That was actually in fairness. I kind of see why he was annoyed at that, and I see it in this one as well because he kind of lost in the most pathetic way, just ramming into the wall.
with Microbeat, it was a case of that was naughty. That was very naughty
It was not.
from the people who were driving the house robots. But
I sympathise here because it was like it just kind of ended so quickly, and there wasn't any, and the house robots didn't even get in there. It was just sort of they just got stuck, and that was it. And again, I think it was actually the turntable's fault this time because they went forwards.
yep.
And went straight into the wall, and they got stuck. And what a shame for that. I mean, after all that time of making it, and it's like, boom, you're out. That's it. It wasn't like
Game over.
it was like Elvis in the next heat, just so quick.
Yeah.
Nothing happened, and it was quicker than Elvis.
Drove into the wall and then just died. And then they didn't die, but they got their wedge stuck underneath the barrier, didn't they?
The smallest amount of metal that could get stuck under. I don't know how it pinned them down so much. They must have not much. Must be very. It must have been quite a lot that got stuck in there, or maybe it was just very. It was just really wedged in there because it couldn't move at all.
Nope, we were stuck.
I mean, it doesn't look like a very hard impact when you watch it on TV. It just looks like the cow just bumped into it. And you look at the image and you think that doesn't look like they could get away with. They could get away with from that, and they don't. And it's like, oh, wow, it really got. They somehow managed to get the most unlucky position to get stuck in. It's one of those things in the Gauntlet. It's just things happen like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean these things happen, but
Actually, one thing I actually only realised yesterday, because I think I rewatched because we were going to do this originally yesterday, but yeah, we had to
Yes.
cancel. I was watching the episode and I just went on the wiki, and I didn't realise actually they created Crusher in Series 3.
Did they?
Yeah, they were Team Warthog because they competed in the middleweight tournament in Series 2 and came second to Hard Cheese. But then they actually were the Crusher team, yeah, and they failed to qualify for Series 6 or 7 with Cruncher. It looked like it looked like a very long Scarab from Series 3.
Odd.
It was like six-wheeled or something. It actually looked quite. It actually looked all right, but it just didn't. I think it looks very similar to a robot that came in the Dutch Wars called Scarab. You might have seen that. If you wiki that, you can probably see it looks like that, and it's a shame actually because because Crusher was a disappointment.
Yeah.
Although in fairness, I 100% see why they lost, but because it was just reliability is the key, and if your tracks are clearly stuck on by sellotape with no protection, they're going to fall off. I mean, it wasn't even, that's the funny thing about that. I mean, it's weird about talking about Series 3 for a sec, but I just kind of find it funny that there was no like pressure that the tracks fell off on. It just bumped into him and it was, it fell off. And I was like, oh, and you were dominating at one point. But and then another time, again, it's a bit of a sort of bad luck and sort of unreliability the way that one little bit of metal can pin you around that much.
It's very true. I mean, in terms of I think it had potential. Potentially could have made the heat final.
Yeah, maybe it could have.
It was basically a bigger, better version of Full Metal Anorak. But
although I don't know if it could have got past the trials though. The maze seems a bit.
No, it would have done because Psycho Sprat was in it.
Yeah, no, yeah, but actually that's the point. Yeah, because Torcadell would have lost if they went for the...
Exactly, yeah.
Oh yeah, I suppose yeah, they might have, yeah. But all they had to do was get near the gate and they would have won.
Exactly.
Yeah, but very unlucky end for Warthog there. And again, it's one of the only two times in the series where the competitor refused to talk to anyone.
Which is kind of sad, really, because like you go through all that and then it's just like.
I can see his frustration. It wasn't like they lost, well. They lost in a very pathetic way, which is like admittedly pathetic way. And it was like, yeah, I can understand that. And it wasn't. It was kind of an awkward interview. It was like you didn't really know what to say to him because the driver's gone away.
Yeah, Jeremy was just kind of looked a bit forlorn, really. But oh well.
Imagine what can you say, really? It's like he's stormed off, and yeah, the guy who's not the driver just kind of there going, oh, he's gone. Oh, what do I say? I don't know. We lost. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing you can say about the performance really.
They lost to a vegetable.
They lost to a vegetable. Yes, I thought it was more like a pea, but
Psycho P.
Psycho P. Psycho P. That should be a sequel.
It's a nanoweight or a nanoweight.
There's a lot of round fruit out there.
There is a lot of round fruit
Although
out
actually, when I was following the Antweight tournament, who was either the one I saw most recently or last week, or last month? There was actually a robot. There was it looked like a tennis ball. It was like basically based on Psycho Sprout,
there. Oh wow,
and it was against like a carbide type spinner and just got completely shredded.
nice.
It got one hit KO'd like a spinner. I don't know its name though. I can't remember. I think they said it. I can't remember what its name was. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, this was admittedly this gauntlet wasn't that half the robots did well and half the well actually maybe okay Sakusprite did alright, but like the last two really didn't do very well in this gauntlet.
Yeah, we talk of the devil got stuck on the grill, and that's just that's an insta kill, isn't it, in this series? But and
Actually, Totally Girl didn't get caught on the grill. I think what happened is Sergeant Bash came into him, and then the Sergeant Bash got stuck on the grill. And
yeah, Sergeant got stuck on the grill, but one of their wheels did get caught on it, and they couldn't get away.
oh yeah, and they were just kind of limping about for ages anyway.
Yeah.
And they went out backwards like half the contestants have to in this series.
Yep.
And it wasn't like a speedy exit because this thing's only about 4 miles an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's one of those 4 miles an hour robots that really shows because I always think like there are robots that are like 4 miles an hour and they don't feel 4 miles an hour compared to this.
Roadblock is slow, but it just has a lot of momentum towards it.
Yeah, this thing is just really light, really. Yeah, it's mostly just a plastic shell, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just they got very lucky toward the devil, very lucky indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Like be like the robots in Series 2 who got through because the other robot broke down to make it to the arena. I mean, Spin Doctor, you got lucky.
Yeah.
You couldn't even get past any of the obstacles because you were too wide.
Yeah.
Although they redeemed themselves in the trials, they did those in the trials, but you got lucky, and I will always and luck is always part of the game, though.
Absolutely. But anyway, on this occasion, out go
Warthog.
Warthog.
And the trials come in, and it's actually again, and like the last heat and Heat B, a unique trial that never returns. It is the maze.
Or the Labyrinth.
Labyrinth maze, whatever.
Basically, it's a second gauntlet, but everyone goes at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, do you know that one bit of the gauntlet that nobody liked going through because it required you to have very.
Although I will say, in this heat, every single competitor, bar,
Psycho Sprout.
I think so. They all went right, except Psycho Sprout went left, and Talk of the Devil wanted to go right, but they ended up going left because the turntable pulled them round. But everyone else went down the maze. And I mean, reality they went left. But I know reality went over the ramp in the end, but they all went left.
Yeah, that's weird.
Right at the starting gate.
Yeah, I mean, this trials though is kind of funny because they actually got the scoreboard wrong. They should have swapped Body Hammer and Reality's distances round, which is quite. And also they misspelled Psycho Sprout as Physico Sprout or something. I think it's like I'll play it in the review. There's like a shot of it from the leaderboard, and like both errors are in the same bit, and it's like, wow, you couldn't even get the Psycho Sprout's name right.
I know. So it's one of those things.
I know it's more excusable than like Stegosaurus and like Stegosaurus. Like you've got the names on the robot.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, this trials was absolutely a Psycho Sprout's disadvantage in.
Yeah, they was never going to get through, were they? So
the only trials they could have done well in is the British Bulldog, because all you have to do is go forwards in that.
Maybe the football.
Maybe, because I mean, obviously, Dreadnought would have broken down.
But there you go. I mean, they went out in the end.
Oh, and they went out in the end pretty easily. They just kind of went into the wall, bounced backwards, and then realized they couldn't get any further, so they just kind of had held back for a lot of time.
Yep.
And at the same time, though, Reality unfortunately got quite badly injured. It doesn't look as bad in the footage, but they broke two of their drive motors.
It was only the one wheel.
Oh, the one wheel.
It was one drive motor that they damaged, but because they had to.
Well, they're connected, aren't they? So they
came in pairs, so they had to remove another one. Yep. So that's why they lost two wheels there.
So they had a massive disadvantage in the battle, so they had to be on 4 wheels as opposed to 6.
Yep.
But yeah, so unfortunately we got Psycho Sprout going out. And the first battle is Body Hammer against Talk of the Devil, i.e. Beat one robot up. It's like Stegosaurus against Napalm.
It's bullying. It was bullying.
It was a bullying. It was satisfying though, because it was one of the few battles that actually was one robot completely dominating the other. It wasn't like pushing each other around.
This is where we saw Body Hammer come to the fore as a competitive force for this series. I mean, it really, And I know in the trials and in the maze it was kind of decent. But this was just Oof, this was a display, wasn't it? Really.
It was absolute. I mean, Talking Tail really was barely got off the mark anyway because of its speed.
Yep.
And then you got pushed against the rails. Like Matilda's at it, although just trying to get a piece of Talk of the Devil.
Yep.
It gets rammed onto the rails. It can't move. Its weapons doing nothing.
And then Body Hammer has a go at Dead Metal.
Yeah, why not? Go after House Robots. I mean, it makes you even more sad to realize that Body Hammer, the second one in Series 2, was a lot better in terms of like speed and size and weight and all that potential. And armor and all that potential just lost. And actually, it was in that internet one in the special. You realise actually how powerful that thing was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when it participated in the second series, obviously it had a lot more power. We didn't see much of it due to unluckiness, really. But there you go.
Yeah, because it almost upended Dead Metal.
Yeah,
That's how powerful it was. But yeah, Series 1 Body Armor, at least they got to show off some of their power here. Because it's one of those robots you don't think will be very powerful. It just looks like a cone. But it actually has surprisingly a lot of good pushing power.
that's a lot of drive behind it, doesn't it?
A lot of drive behind. That's probably where a lot of them. That must have been a lot of the effort gone into it, considering the weapon didn't seem to be as important to the robot.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it was just a complete annihilation from Talk of Del. Didn't they? I mean, out of the two, I was predicting them instantly, but even then, no chance. But yeah, the next battle was a little bit more slower. There's a lot of it's one of those kind of pushing about type battles. Full Metal Anorak against Reality, and Reality did well to control him, despite the fact they only had 4 wheels left.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's a heavier robot, so you kind of understand why it was going to happen. But yeah,
I was quite surprised that they actually got through the armor at one point.
yes, the spikes made it through, didn't they? Just about.
Yeah, one of the few times a spike actually really got through armor in the series. It isn't an axe. It was just bad driving by Full Metal Anorak, really. Just straight onto the grill. I mean, and that thing's killed so many robots with bad driving skills, and that's one of them. You know, first Shogun, then Cruella, and now Full Metal Anorak.
Yep.
And Bugs as well.
Oh yeah, Bugs, but Full Metal Anorak, decent design, but not really going to win when it's half the weight of its opponent.
I can understand why it was running away half the time because it was just so light.
Yeah.
That it was just never gonna win.
Yeah.
Unless obviously Reality just broke down around the grill or something or got stuck. That's the only way you can really win a robot battle in Series 1 if you're not good enough. But yeah, it was quite a not the most interesting final. It was just a lot of pushing, a bit of running away, a bit of spiking, and then they just round to the grill. Fun. But the heat final is a lot more interesting for a fairly infamous reason, I guess.
The thing is, right? The thing is, yeah, this is just it is ridiculous because this heat final was influenced so much by the house robots.
Yes. For those who didn't see the heat, what happened was initially Body Hammer was actually winning at the beginning. Reality did get in near Matilda, and
okay, why was Matilda out in the middle of the arena?
Actually, I don't know because I remember at one point I swear was it the Full Metal Anorak battle that Dead Metal was just in the middle of the arena for some reason.
Yeah, why was Matilda just chilling in the middle of the arena?
I don't know, but I mean, to her credit, at least she did attack Reality initially on the first hit when he was in the when he was in the corner. So, and it did lift a bit of the armor up, and it didn't do any damage. Just kind of, you could tell it was having problems driving because it kind of constantly kept spinning around in circles half the time to get any direction. Some points, and yeah, Body Hammer was winning initially. It probably had the advantage from the start because it actually had all its motors working. But then Body Hammer drove onto the grill, and Reality pushed them further onto the grill, so they had no chance to get off. Guess who comes along and helps Body Hammer?
Shunt.
Mr. Shunt, and who's not normally a bullshit house robot. He's not the most. I mean, it's usually like someone like Matilda who just comes in with a flywheel or a lot, picks them up or something. It's like, no, Shunt was actually the bad guy this time. And yeah, he pushed him off the grill, and then you didn't see it in shot, but you cut back to it. And Shunt's stuck on the grill after pushing him off.
Yeah, Shunt got stuck on the grill, and then Reality ended up getting stuck on the side rails.
I think because what happens, I was watching it because I didn't see. You actually don't see the moment where it happens, but on the camera. But I think what happened, you could see it was spinning around above Shunt. I think it just span onto the grill because it couldn't, onto the side rail.
Yep.
Couldn't turn. And I was like, oh, and Body Hammer won. And
because they lost the wheel on the grill.
Yeah. And it's so unfair. Like, they won. They were still moving, and then Body Hammer's like, oh, well, I mean, you actually could see Robin Herrick wasn't that happy with it. He wasn't, by the end of the battle, it wasn't something like, he was sort of like, I didn't really feel that was I won that properly.
Well, not even that. It was more a case of I don't think he
he thought he'd lost as well. That's the thing.
Yeah, he thought he'd lost, and as well as that, I think they realised just how lucky they were to get through.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I felt sorry for reality team. I mean, obviously they had a disadvantage in the grand final anyway. But I'm always of the opinion that despite how big the odds are, a robot should get through if they deserve it. Like again,
True.
it's like how someone will say, "Oh, I think oh T2, even if T2 won,
Mm.
Gravedigger might have flipped him over and they could have won." It's all ifs. It could have Gravedigger could have broken down. It probably wouldn't because it was actually quite reliable. But it's still, it wouldn't have. Who knows? Nobody knows what will happen because it never happened. I'm not saying. Obviously, in fairness, reality had definitely it would have been the second lightest in the grand final after Cunning Plan.
Yep.
But again,
I will say, I think the right robot won the heat.
yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, overall the right robot won the heat, but for this battle in particular,
No, then no.
it shouldn't have won.
Yeah, reality had that fight.
In reality, I mean, obviously, yeah, I was going to say in reality as a pun there, but in reality, Body Hammer until that moment were dominating anyway.
Yeah.
It was just a case of, well, obviously, a bit like Corella against Robot the Bruce. Obviously, they were dominating, then he lost. But in that case, that was because of bad driving. Again, Body Hammer lost because of bad driving, and they still managed to get out of it. It's a bit of an iffy one, and
yeah, but it's controversy and
controversy series. It's all early series. It's a lot.
Controversy and Robot Wars go hand in hand with one another, don't they? Really?
Oh, there's at least one every series.
Yeah.
Not as much in series 4 I can think of. I think the biggest one was Firestorm against Morg, and maybe Willy B. Cheese against Suicide Tensei. They're the two that people seem to think are a bit contentious.
I'm gonna put my hat in the ring for I'm gonna put my hat in the ring for Firestorm and Dominator 2.
Oh yeah, that was a bit.
And also Stinger and Panic Attack.
Yeah, that was a little bit. I mean, yeah,
They're less obvious, but they're dicey as well. Yeah.
They're less obvious. I mean, this is one of those controversies in Series 1 I think that doesn't really get as noted because it's kind of forgotten about with things like T2 and Storm 2 and Napalm's various wins and all that kind of stuff. But
yep.
It's just one of those things. Like it happened. It's 18 years ago. You can't change it now.
Let it go.
You can let it go. I mean, it's not one that annoys me as much. I think the T2 one is probably the only one that really kind of to this day. I'm like, whenever I think about it, I just go, how?
Why?
I still don't get their argument. Like, oh, it's an active weapon. Yeah, that's a rant for another heat, another time. I remember actually though. I think I mentioned him before, but Mr. Psycho does like the review thing.
Yeah.
He had the funniest reaction to it last week though.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's like, oh, well, saying Dark Destroyer is probably not going to win. I think I'm going to go for T2. It's controversial. Dark Destroyer just head on the desk for about 10 seconds. So I was just like, I don't get the show.
It's weird, right?
I'm trying to get it myself, and it's. But yeah, what are you going to do? It's too long ago, and can't do anything about it. But it was still bullshit. I'm not going to say it's not bullshit, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter too much because again, Body Ham was the better robot. Again, it's just the way it works. But
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. So
that's the end of the heat.
We have one more heat to go, and not going to do it now. But we have one heat, and it's also sort of a weird heat because since Series 6 is such a short series, unlike the new reboot series, they didn't decide to do this because it would have made it way too short. They had a massive 6-way battle with all the heat finalists going to the grand final, which is why we've been referencing a few times throughout this series that then the winner like Cunning Palm is never going to win. People say, oh, why couldn't they win? They could have done one the Gauntlet. There's no Gauntlet. They just battle.
It was just a fight. It was a fight, and that was it.
Yeah, it's just a fight, and may the best box win.
Pretty much, yeah. But we'll get to that next week.
We'll get to next week. It's not the most interesting grand final, but it's an interesting concept. It's not the most fun battle, but it's got a few moments that are quite funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's it for Heat E. Thank you once again, Sam, for joining me.
Anytime.
And I've been Jimjamatic. I'm going to sign off and see you later.
Yep, take it. See you next week.
Bye.